Hi, good afternoon. I hope you're well. You join me this afternoon on a bit of a rainy day at the local reservoir. A bit of an impromptu trip really. I was hoping to get down onto the River Severn or Warwickshire Avon after some barbel and chub. We've had a few 2 or 3 days of pretty decent rain. The River Severn's up and raging through, and the Warwickshire Avon's up quite a lot as well. So as I say, I thought I'd have a little impromptu trip down onto the local reservoir and see if I can't have another go for some carp. So I think in one of the recent videos I managed a carp just over £10, which was good. The spot I'm fishing this afternoon is actually opposite where I caught that fish, and I did actually see a few fish moving around. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. I've got a boilie rod out at the moment, just ledgering a boilie next to a weed bed, and I'm just sort of having a think about what to do with my second rod. It is quite mild. I've been putting some dog biscuits out just in case there's any fish, near the surface. Haven't seen anything as yet. So yeah, a little bit undecided about what to do with the second rod. I've got a feeder rod which I might put on the inside, close in, targeting perhaps some tench or crusions, but yeah, it's coming down quite nicely, as you can hear. So I'm just going to get the gear set up and see how we get on. I'll run you through the tackle that I'll be using, but just before I do that, I'll show you the spot for the afternoon. So probably a little bit difficult to see, but just probably about a third of the way across, if that. There's a weed bed, and I've just got, as I say, a boilie just next to that, and I have been putting out some dog biscuits just towards the middle of the lake there, just to see if there's anything around. And as I say, just on the right hand side there's quite a nice overhanging bush, so I might try close in there for some tench. But yeah, that's the spot for the afternoon. It's quite nice, as I say, quite mild for last weekend in September. Rain isn't obviously ideal, but it's quite mild, probably about 18 degrees, which is quite unusual. The rain unfortunately is forecast for most of the afternoon, but you can see some blue sky up there perhaps, which is good. So what I'll do, I'll run you through the carp gear and we'll get cracking. Right, I'll just run you through the gear that I'm using this afternoon. So this is the carp setup. I've got a Shimano bait runner reel with 15-pound line and a Abu Garcia carp rod, 2-pound test curve, so quite a nice light rod. That's 15-pound line on the bait runner. That comes to a flying back lead, and then you have what is now relatively traditional tubing down to a clip system, and then I've got a stick clip just to make it a bit easier, just to switch up the hook links. And the hook link I've got is 15-pound Corda dark matter, and that is down to a size 6 hook. And at the moment I've got a wafter hook bait on there, and a PVA bag, a small PVA bag of crushed boilies and pellets. The wafter itself, the hook bait, is from is the sticky range, and they work quite well. I've used them for quite a while. And what I'll do is I'll just put a bit of goo on the hook bait and the PVA bag just to give it that bit of extra attraction. So that's the setup, and let's get it out and see if we can't get one. Okay, so as well as a flying back lead, I'm also pinning the line down with a back lead, another back lead just at the tip. So it's quite a simple system really. The clip there just pops into the back, the weight, and then you simply drop that down in the water. And then just by lifting that very gently, that will just push the back weight, the back lead, sorry, just probably past the rod tip. So we've got the line coming down in the water instead of straight to the bait, and that should avoid line bites and spooking the carp. So that's the theory. Bait's out there. Probably got about 40-50 boilies scattered around the area. So we'll get it clipped up and see how we get on. Okay, just set up the second rod. I've got a Shimano bait runner reel with 10-pound line. And then that is on my Fox barbel rod, which is quite a nice soft action rod, about 1.5 pound test curve. That comes down to this setup, which is a Quorum run rig system, so it's a free running lead. That then comes down to a stick clip covered in tubing. Then the hook link is 10-pound IQ2 down to a size 8 barbless hook. And for bait I've got 2 pieces of imitation corn, which is actually floating. So then I've got a shot just there, just to balance it off. So it'll just sit like that in the water. I've been baiting up with a nice ground bait mix. So here I've got Hinder's Blitz ground bait, and I've added some micro pellets and some corn as well. So I'm just going to wrap the hook and imitation corn with a small ball of this. And yeah, we'll see how we get on, see if there's any tench around, or maybe carp closer in. But yeah, we'll get it out and see how we get on. Okay, fish on. feels a decent one. I was getting a few knocks. It was showing some signs that there was some fish around. I was just thinking about moving, to be honest, but I'd had that take on my right hand rod, which I completely fluffed up. Tried to stand up and I had a dead leg, so that was quite embarrassing. Anyway, I missed that one, and it's just gone a bit quiet. And as I say, I was just thinking about moving, but there was bubbles showing and a few knocks, and finally we're into something decent. Feels like a good fish, to be honest. Very slow and ponderous. It wasn't the take was a bit gentle. It sort of tightened up and then sort of stopped there. Oh, line just pinged off it. Oh. Okay, there you go, it's woken up. I've probably been fishing for 2.5 hours probably. And as I say, I was just starting to get a little bit twitchy. But it felt quite good. As I say, it's been quite mild this afternoon, and it felt good for a fish, to be honest. The weather's put off everyone else. I've now got the lake to myself. Stopped raining, which is something. And this feels like a nice fish. It was very kind to me. It didn't try and get into the weed bed. There's actually bubbles, you probably can't see, but there's actually bubbles out there now, so certainly got some fish moving around, which is good. But to be honest, on a day like today, I just want this one. This will make me happy. They do fight really hard in here, so sometimes it's a bit difficult to gauge how big they are. But as I say, this one is fighting very slow and ponderous, so could be a big one. There's not a huge amount of carp in here, so to be honest, I always enjoy catching them regardless of the size. I've had quite a few 20s, low 20s is the best I've had. I managed the grass carp last year, which was 23.5, which was amazing fish. Didn't get that on camera, unfortunately. Oh. Be nice just to see it, see what I'm dealing with. Oh, it's a lovely mirror. That's a lovely mirror. Keep calm, keep calm. That could be 20. The weather's, if anything, got worse. It stopped raining, to be fair, but winds picked up, about 14-15 mile an hour winds. But if anything, it's not affected the fishing, which is good. Just don't go down there. Oh. Come on now. Come on. I'm not playing it particularly hard, but it's certainly putting up a good fight. Come on. No. Glad I've got the heavy gear on, £15 line. Size 6 hook. It's putting a lovely bend in the rod. Oh, come on. Please stay on. Please stay on. Please stay on. I am aware of a nice mirror in here that I've caught over the years. I think I've caught it twice, to be honest. Just 21, I think it was last time I had it, a couple of years ago. I'm not saying that's the same fish, but that is a chunk. That is a nice fish. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. Oh, brilliant. That is superb. Oh yes. That's a thick fish. That's got to be £20. Right then, I'll just rest it there for a minute and I'll just sort out the gear. Right, that's the hook out. Right then, let's get this weighed. I'll just zero the net, zero the scales. It's definitely over £20. There we go. sling's already nice and wet for it. Oh, that is a beauty. Right then, let's see what she goes. So that is 22.5 pound. Oh, let's just check that again. Oh, my back. Oh, 22 3/4. That is a great fish. Really pleased with that one. It's been a bit of a tough day. So that really makes up for it. And at just under 23 pounds, that is the biggest that's the biggest carp I've had actually from this lake, and that is in beautiful condition. There you go, look at that. That is a beauty. Really healthy looking fish. That is superb. Hi, good evening, I hope you're well. Back at the car now, end of the session. Just managed the one carp, but yeah, really pleased with that fish. It was a lovely mirror, just under 23 pounds. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. I did have a feeling that you know, with the sort of mild temperatures for this time of year, that there might be something about. So yeah, really pleased with that. I did manage one of the take, which I completely messed up. I went to stand up to grab the rod and I had a dead leg, so that didn't quite work out as planned. But anyway, notwithstanding that, really pleased with that fish. I think I got some decent photos as well, which I'll put in the video shortly. So fingers crossed the weather will improve a little bit and the river levels will sort of die down, and yeah, I'll be back on the River Severn. I'm hoping to do a few days away after Barble, so yeah, look out for that one. But yeah, very pleased with that fish. Lovely carp, and yeah, it's probably going to be a while until I'm out for carp again. So yeah, it's quite a nice, it's quite fitting really, and quite a nice nice way to end the carp season, if you like. Anyway, on to other things. As I say, I'll be back on the rivers, and then I'll be after the predators soon enough. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.